So this is the last Sunday of Pride Month 2025. And I want to revisit a story that was covered by all of the Connecticut television stations and newspapers last September, 2 months before the 2024 election. And I've edited this from a few sources. And I want you to envision, this is a small black and white picture, but I want you to envision a larger, beautiful color picture of a very nice house with a porch, and on that porch, next to the rhododendrons or azaleas, whatever they are, but in full bloom, a couple of signs. One in pride colors saying Harris Walls 2024, and the other being a pride flag. That might make us smile. That, as you would know, would make a lot of people frown. And it's the latter category that led to this story. So the story said, Watertown couples say their pride flag political signs led to targeted hate. Chris Cole, it says, runs a nonprofit in New Haven and is a deacon at his church in Watertown. He and his husband, Ed, have lived in Watertown for over 15 years. Cole said they have flown a pride flag outside their house for most of that time, but a masked person stole their pride flag and lawn signs from their yard last week. It came just after they got a vulgar letter from an anonymous sender, postmarked from, quote, Americans that care, end quote. As Chris said, it was a really racist, homophobic, sexist, misogynistic letter, most obviously about our choice in political candidates. It also said, as for that pride flag that's hanging in your house, you could use it as toilet paper. Cole said his neighbors have shown their support by giving him flags and lawn signs. Some have also put up their own pride flags. And U.S. Representative Johanna Hayes, who represents Watertown, joined Christopher Cole for church on Sunday in support. Cole said it's all started about 2 weeks ago when someone drove up to their property, spinning their truck tires and filling the front yard with smoke. Sounds familiar. They then pulled 3 political signs from the lawn. Quote, as Chris said, quote, but I'm not so worried. I have true faith and belief that if someone comes and does something stupid again, that people will circle around and be there to support. And it's much more important to shed the light and get that information out there. I'm not going to be afraid. He continued, it's one thing to have a different opinion. I want to live in a society where we have different opinions, but we need to respect each other. Cole said he's keeping positive despite the situation. Quote, because it's not about Ed and I, it's about all of those folks who are bullied, and it's about standing up to those who think it's okay to bully any of us in our community, end quote. Christopher Cole is with us today. Chris is the executive director of APNH, a place to nourish your health in New Haven. He's a member in discernment in the United Church of Christ. He just finished a year-long chaplaincy internship at Griffin Hospital, and he'll be doing a supervised ministry field placement at South Britain Congregational Church beginning in September. He's an avid traveler of the world and life's journeys, resident of Watertown, where he lives with his husband, Ed Oliver, and their 2 Havanese dogs. Please welcome to Justice Southbury, Chris Cole. Yeah.
Well, good afternoon, beloved community. It is so good to be here with those who dare to live and love boldly. And an honor to stand here today as a proud gay man and a person of faith. We're gathered not just to celebrate pride, but to bear witness to a truth so old and so sacred and yet so revolutionary still. Love your neighbor. This commandment is at the heart of so many faith traditions, not just Christianity, but Judaism, Islam, Sikhism, Buddhism. It's not a suggestion. It's not a polite idea. It's a charge. A call to radical, embodied, real-life love for one another. And today I want to add this. To love your neighbor, you must also love yourself. And to love yourself, you must be yourself. Because how can we offer love to others if we are still hiding? How can we claim to be vessels of compassion if we are shrinking ourselves to fit into someone else's mold. To be fully and authentically ourselves is not only brave, it is holy. And yet, let me say this clearly and gently to anyone listening who is not yet ready or able to come out. You are whole. You are holy. You are worthy of love. Coming out is not a test of your integrity or your courage. It is a deeply personal journey that unfolds in its own time and its own way. If safety, survival, or healing means staying quieter right now, that's okay. You are not less beloved because the world hasn't heard your truth yet. But hold on to this. There is no shame in being who you are. And when the day comes that you're ready to speak your truth, there will be a community of love waiting to embrace you. Until then, know this: you are not alone, and nothing, not fear, not silence, not even the closet, can separate you from the love that created you. I say this not as a metaphor, but as a lived theology. Because I believe that when we tell our stories, when we bring our full selves into the light, we are reflecting the image of God more truthfully than any doctrine ever could. The book of Genesis tells us that all people are made in the image of God, not just the straight ones, or the rich ones, or the white ones, or the cisgendered ones, not just the ones who fit the mold of respectability. All of us, queer, trans, fluid, asexual, questioning, radiant, resilient, fearfully and wonderfully made. So when we are true to who we aren't being rebellious. We are being faithful. Let me be honest. I spent years thinking I had to choose between being gay and being spiritual, between loving God and loving myself, between showing up at church and showing up as me, between being myself and being what others wanted or expected me to be. But it turns out that was never the choice. The real choice was this: be authentic or be invisible. To live in freedom or to live in fear. And I choose freedom. The gospel I know, the gospel that I feel deep in my bones, calls us out of hiding. And it calls us into a love that is healing and justice-making and powerfully queer. Because here's the deeper truth. When we live authentically, we give others permission to do the same. When we say, this is who I am, we are saying it is okay to be exactly who you are. That's how the Spirit moves. That's how communities are changed. There is power to being seen. There is freedom in no longer apologizing for existing. There is liberation in choosing joy, even in a world that would rather we stay quiet or not exist. At the end of last summer, as Rick told you, a group of men wearing masks came into our yard late at night and tore down the pride flag that we had flown on our house for well over a decade. They ripped it right from the molding. My response was to put up a much bigger, brighter flag the very next morning and call out the injustice. Just this Thursday, and again last night, as I was gardening in the backyard, someone rode by and shouted, "Faggot!" They couldn't see me or anyone else. I was in the backyard. So they're yelling derogatory names at our house because there's a pride flag hanging on it. So what did I do? I put up a light-up rainbow sign right on the front stoop, and it says, "In this house we believe no human is illegal. Black lives matter. Women's rights are human rights. Love is love, and kindness is everything." Let them ride by and shout whatever they want. I will shout back in love and pride. When Jesus says, love thy neighbor, he's not giving us a passive command. He's calling us into risky, vulnerable, revolutionary relationship with others, yes, but also with ourselves. You can't truly love your neighbor if you hate yourself. And you can't be a neighbor to someone else if you're not at home in your own soul. Now, does that mean we should always be polite? Always be nice? Always docile? Get along with everyone? Absolutely not. Docility is not discipleship. Following what the powerful tell us is control. Anger can be holy. Anger is what you feel when someone you love is being harmed. And I don't know about you, but I'm angry. I'm angry at legislation that targets trans youth. I'm angry at the Supreme Court that doesn't understand that LGBTQ plus characters in books can be the only way sometimes that a young person struggling with their sexuality sees themselves. And it saves lives. I'm angry at churches that use the Bible as a weapon. I'm angry at injustice that hides behind civility. My anger, though, is neighbor-centered, because love demands justice. Not passive love, not love that avoids conflict, but fierce, faithful love that refuses to let anyone be dehumanized. So this pride, I ask you to remember, your authenticity is not a liability. It is your gift to the world. Your identity is not a barrier to faith. It's a pathway into sacred truth. And your life, your beautiful, full, vibrant, honest life is not a problem to solve. It is a story to celebrate. Friends, when we love our neighbors and when we love ourselves, we help create the very world we dream of. A world where no one has to wonder if they're worthy. A world where kids can come out and still come home. A world where the church becomes a sanctuary again for all of us. A world where pride isn't just a parade, it's a daily practice of courage, compassion, and truth. So let us love boldly. Let us love honestly. Let us never apologize for being fully and gloriously who we are. Because in the end, that's not just how we change the world, that's how we save it. This pride, I'm choosing authenticity over shame, I'm choosing justice over silence, I'm choosing love that gets its hands dirty. And I'm choosing to believe that loving my neighbor begins with loving myself enough to show up in my whole holy queer self. So let's be neighbors to one another, across differences, across stories, across boundaries, and let that love remind us that we are all beloved and we all belong to each other. May our lives, our laughter, our stubborn hope, and our sacred rage point the world towards something more beautiful. Thank you for having me here today. Happy Pride, and let's go out and love our neighbors out loud.